So there's this art meme that's older than some of you that I've been wanting to do for years now. I'll have the original linked in the description, but it's called the 25 Essential Expressions Challenge, or what we call these days an art meme? I don't know, I'm old. So let's get into it. I'm going to draw myself in 25 exaggerated and silly expressions. So what has prompted me to finally tackle this challenge after wanting to do it for years? Well, I've been doing a lot of streaming on Twitch these days. Twitch.tv/KaseyTheGolden, the link will be in the description. I try to stream 3 days a week. I've been having a lot of fun chatting with the chat, getting feedback from them, creating silly art, which also includes the custom emotes for the challenge. We create some really funny backstories for the emotes I create for my channel. I've really been enjoying exaggerating expressions, simplifying my face, doing really silly and goofy things that don't make any sense but are funny and silly, and just having a lot of fun with art over on Twitch. And I wanted to create more of those crazy expressions, so why not finally tackle this dang challenge? If you're from my Twitch, you might already recognize some of these expressions I have borrowed from the emotes I already created. I just love them so much that I wanted to reuse them. So real quick, I went through and sketched out all of the expressions because I wanted to make sure that none of them were too similar. There were a couple of times when I started to maybe cross the arms, but thought that looked better for pouting, and I didn't want too many, I guess, repeated elements in these emotions, and I wanted to make sure they were all quite different. So once I had all 25 expressions sketched and planned out, it was time to start lining them and adding color. And for some reason, color reminds me that although my character isn't the most consistent when it comes to style, sometimes the eyes are on the side of the head, sometimes they're huge and bulgy, I think the overall color scheme and look of the way I draw myself as a character in general helps bring this character together and makes it recognizable throughout all of these expressions, even though features do change, like the size of the eyes, the mouth, nose placement, hair. Sometimes things change a little bit, but I think overall the expression is the focus of this challenge for me. I really just wanted to exaggerate and have fun with putting crazy expressions on a character. And sometimes you have to be self-indulgent and draw yourself 25 times. Nothing wrong with that. So we jumped into the basic expressions. We have our smiling, we have our sad, and then we moved on to more pleased, which I was kind of struggling with for a little bit. Later on, there is an expression called triumph, and it was kind of looking very similar to that, with the hands on the hips, looking very proud of themselves, but I just felt like it was a little bit too similar to maybe what triumph would be. Though in the end, I think pleased and triumph could definitely be switched in the end. The V fingers, V for victory, is basically triumph. I just wasn't really sure, but I know that when I'm pleased with myself, I do get a little bit like triumphy and victorious feelings, so I went with that, and I'm really happy with how pleased turned out. It's probably my favorite. Angry was of course really fun to add red in the face and exaggerate how angry I was. One of the first examples of the round eyes coming in. Yes, very Animal Crossing looking. Those thick eyebrows, and of course playing around with the body language. Is that cheating? Expressions include body language, right? Confused was definitely one I struggled with, especially the body. The body looked really bad, but you know what? I had 25 drawings to do, and I knew none of them were going to be perfect. So sometimes you gotta move on. shocked and surprised emotion was definitely one of the more exaggerated emotions. We just have so much going on. Those eyeballs are very tall. We definitely have 3 eyebrows, lots of lines, lots of intensity. You can just tell there's just a lot of expression in this expression. It's also very heavily inspired by one of my Twitch emotes. It's just a little bit more detailed because it's not being turned into an emote, so I didn't feel like I was being constricted with details. Irritated was one I struggled a little bit with. I just wondered what irritated looked like. To be honest, with a lot of these expressions, I feel like I could just have a blank face. I am very expressive, but there's a lot of emotions that I don't have a very, I guess, exaggerated reaction with. Obviously, this is a cartoon version of myself, so the expressions are going to be very much exaggerated, and I was wanting to exaggerate them and have fun with them and just put them to the extreme. But when it comes to me, myself, I definitely don't look like this, obviously. So irritated is pretty chill. We have WTF, which I thought would be fun to have my character sort of breaking the border and coming out of the box to almost say WTF to you. And then Triumph, as I talked about earlier, I thought this one would be really fun. Thinking about me maybe winning a video game or something, so I'm celebrating. Again, could definitely be swapped with pleased, but they're both pretty similar. I do like this one though. Fear was another emotion I felt like I could definitely go in a few different directions with, but I decided to hide behind my hands. I thought that would be a really fun and sort of common way to show fear. You're hiding behind the only thing you have, your hands. Hands are very expressive. They're very useful, obviously, for expressions, and I definitely used the body language a lot. Again, is that legal? Is that a legal move in this challenge? I assume so, because there is so much you can do with hands. Hands are so very important with expressing yourself. Bereft was one that, to be honest, I had to look up because I had no idea what the definition was. It is something to do with being empty or lacking of, so I think it's sort of the feeling of emptiness or the lack of an expression. I think maybe bereft might explain the way I feel about bereft. I'm just confused and I look at it with a blank face and then just move on to flirty. Flirty was definitely really fun. It's not something that I would do in real life. You're not going to see me make that pose or try to make sexy eyes, but there it is. If you wanted to see me be flirty, I suppose that's me being flirty. Finger to the lip, eyes halfway closed. We have a couple of eyelashes. Where did those come from? I have no idea. My hair is up in pigtails, the only one that is. Serious, honestly, just kind of looks maybe more irritated than serious, but I suppose if you're trying to be serious, you're not going to smile and you're going to look like that. So that's serious. And then silly. Silly is an icon on my Twitch channel. It is my Kasey derp emote. Very popular, very silly. So I recreated it in this expression. It is just too silly. And I put my arms out like an airplane because let's be honest, if you're going to be silly, you're definitely going to be running around the room acting like an airplane. Incredulous. I, again, had to look this one up, I'll admit it, but I think what I can boil this expression down to is, well, to be honest, the official definition of this expression is sort of disbelief, but from the examples I saw in Google Images, I kind of boiled it down to a mix of disbelief and the classic DreamWorks face. Probably not the best way to express that expression, but there it is. We've got confident. This is one of those expressions that I didn't want to confuse with triumph, so I kind of made a side view of my face to show that my chest is being pushed out with confidence. Now that I look at it, it is literally the same face, but at an angle. Moving on to fierce, I had a lot of fun with this one, putting fire in my eyes. When I think fierce, I think fire. Is it because they both start with F? I have no idea. This one kind of looks like an expression of someone who is fired up, confident, ready to go. I don't know if that is exactly what fierce means, but you know what? I think it works. And I like the way it looks, so we're going to accept it. Pouty was, of course, a lot of fun, and again, if you are from my Twitch, you know that this is a very similar emote to, well, pouting. I use this one a lot because I like to express or joke around that I'm mad. Okay, so here's one that is definitely an exaggeration. So when it came to the expression of drunk, which, what is the expression drunk? I have no idea. I just took this one as a way to have fun, and I can definitely say that I do not get naked and go crazy when I'm drunk. Definitely not a truthful representation of my drunk face. I think my drunk face is just more mischievous and silly, but I wanted to exaggerate that silliness. So I have me naked and holding, well, my favorite alcoholic beverage is a Chuhai from Japan. And yes, my shoes are still on despite getting naked. How does that work? I have no idea. Moving on to rage, again, another Twitch emote copy. I just love how intense and crazy and in your face this one is. We have sarcastic, again, one of the most challenging ones. How do you express the way someone looks when they're sarcastic? A lot of the times sarcasm is, it's a very sassy looking face, but I think the way I personally use sarcasm is telling a lie and trying to pull it off as truth, but then kind of looking a little silly. I have no idea. This is the sarcastic face I ended up with. Probably not the best, but there it is. Disgusted, of course, we have the whole body recoiling, the tongue is sticking out. I think this one's pretty cute. I actually quite like this one. And then we have ill or nauseous, probably the quickest one. I don't know, now that I'm looking at it, don't know why I didn't put green on my face. Probably should add that green on my face. But I'm very sweaty, I'm drooling a little bit, probably about to vom, and that is that. Here it is, all 25 silly and exaggerated expressions. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, post your favorite emoji in the comments. I'm curious to see which one expresses you the best. So with that, I will see you guys in the next video. Stay golden. But before I go, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons for all of their support. You guys are seriously the freaking best. If you want early access to my videos, secret sketches, and more, check out the Patreon link in the description. Thank you guys all so much for your support. Bye.